the next step is to find the buyer. This is the most important step. In fact, if you have the right buyer for your business and you sell your business at the right time, you can mess up everything else I'm going to cover in this process. You will still get a lot more money for your business than if you had done every other step right, but you sold to the wrong buyer or the wrong time. All the steps matter, yes they do, but the buyer and the timing are the most important. Now notice that we use the word pool, P-O-O-L. When an M&A professional sells a company, they don't just want a single buyer, they want to start with a buyer pool. Typically, the buyer pool has 200 to 400 buyers in that pool. And keep in mind, the reason you want to start with a large pool, you have to eliminate buyers at every single step. If the seller ever gets to the point where he or she can't eliminate buyers, they've lost control of the process. Not only do we want the pool to be of size, it should be filled with optimal buyers. The optimal buyer is different than the entrepreneurial buyer in a number of ways. First of all, they do deals routinely as part of their business strategy. That's how they make money. If they're not buying companies, they're not executing their business plan. They're not executing their strategy. Okay, number two, they have the resources I was talking about earlier. The resources to acquire the company and the resources and the risk tolerance to do something with the business that the seller was never, ever going to do. And finally, they're comfortable competing for deals. If you have a professional deal maker and you say to them, wow, gosh, I don't know if I want those kind of big buyers in my buyer pool. The professional will say to you, look, you don't have to sell your business to anybody, let alone the right buyer. So there's no downside to hearing what all the buyers have to say, and usually the seller would say, all right, that makes sense to me. And he'll allow the deal maker to do his or her job the right way. But as we learned in the conference, most business owners end up having no choice but to do this themselves. They're not a fit for any professional deal maker. And so you've got to be that voice in your ear saying there's no downside to having all the buyers in the pool.